So today we're going to discuss Dewald Brevis and what we've seen from him in this tournament, the under 19 tournament, of course. And yes, I do know that the tournament's not over. There's still a plate or fifth place knockout that can still be happening. So the loser of the Super League quarterfinal one versus the loser of the Super League quarterfinal four. South Africa is in that on Monday, and they'll be playing the loser of the quarterfinal four between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, the Super League quarterfinal four. So there are still games left in this tournament. There's still an opportunity for Dewald to add runs to his name. And there's still an opportunity for some guys to still put on good performances in this tournament and end the tournament on a high. But ultimately we out of the race for the title. So for me, basically the tournament is done, and it's just consolation games from now onwards. But we can talk about Dewald Brevis's performances so far in the tournament up to this point. I think that is something that we can talk about and we need to talk about. It's something that uh, I feel needs to be celebrated, because it's not often that you see a talent like Dewald come through the system and perform the way he has performed. So I have to talk about that. There's still some 4 day stuff that I want to also get through. I'll maybe start the show off with the 4 day competition stuff and give you guys some insight into the 4 day stuff and what's happened on day one. And yeah, that's basically what we're going to be chatting about. And if we've seen any talent in this particular tournament that we can maybe basically fast forward into the 4 day stuff, into the 1 day stuff. There's a T20 knockout competition happening. Which guys in the East Under 19 team have we seen over here that really impressed and we think that should be getting straight into franchise teams from the get-go? So we're going to be chatting about that on today's daily show. Don't forget to smash the like button, please, and comment and share. And also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos as well. But also, don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every single issue is 100% free, straight into your inbox every single month. The link is in the description for that, guys. So go ahead and subscribe right away. It's very easy, 100% free. Just put in your email address and your name, and you will get the issues delivered to your inbox every single month. So without further ado, guys, let's go straight into today's content. Looking forward to chatting to you guys in the comment section and seeing what you guys have to say. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. And I lied to you guys. Aditya's here. So welcome to the show, Aditya. It's my co-host. And yeah, we're going to be chatting about Dewald Brevis, but also a couple of other things that have been happening in South African cricket. Not a lot today. There wasn't a lot of news happening today. Verna actually helped me come up with this topic today to talk about the East Under 90s, etc. There's also women's games happening against the West Indies in South Africa as well. So there is quite a bit to talk about. We spoke quite in depth about the women's game yesterday. So I'm just going to talk about the 4 day competition. Round 6 is underway, and the first round of fixtures are done. I'm just going to read you some of Ongama's report or that he wrote on our site. He did a quick wrap of all the events. So the Dolphins took on the Warriors, and Rudy Second helped his team go to 343 for 6. He's the captain of the side. He scored 120 runs, which included 15 fours. This is Mark he returned with a century after not playing for the Gqeberha side for quite some time. And yeah, he performed excellently. We've got Lasiba Ngope. He scored a 43. And we also got Sinitemba Kloshile, who also did well and scored a 45. And then we've got the VP Blitz versus the Lions. I was at that game today, guys. I really enjoyed the cricket. It was nice to be there and be able to watch the cricket for change and just enjoy it. I really enjoyed being at the stadium, watching the game. As media, of course, fans are not allowed still, so unfortunately, that's unfortunate. That's not happening. I really want to see fans back in the stadium, and I know that 4-day games don't normally get a lot of followers, generally speaking, in South Africa, but I think that now with our fans have been so deprived of cricket in this country that I feel that they will flood to the stadiums when they have the opportunity. They will. I think they will go to the stadiums to go and watch cricket because it's something, it's something that they haven't been able to do. So I do feel that there will be an opportunity for that down the line, and I hope it's very, very, very soon. But in that game, the Blitz finished on 306 for six. I got to see an excellent half century from Tony De Zorzi. He batted really excellently. David Bedingham was excellent with his 81, and Kyle Verreynne getting some runs too. He scored 86 of 153 deliveries. So good performance with the bat over there. Then the Knights versus the Titans. The Titans reached 314 for three by stumps on day one. Um, the Titans openers laid the foundation for everybody. So Jordan Herman and Grant Mokwena, Hendrik Klaassen, 84. There was Grant Mokwena, 58, and Jordan Herman, 67. Sabanelo Makanya is 85, not out as well. But it was those openers that really set the foundation for the two middle order batters as well. Alfred Matoa's 2 for 28 in 15 overs was the best figures for them in that game for the Knights. And then the Rocks versus the Dragons. We've got Sebo Siki and Peter Malan, 79. That opening partnership was really good. And they put on 151 runs. And then Steven van Sales not out on 68. And Janneman Malan not out on 91. So he's nearing in on another century in the number 4 position that we've been talking about. So it was good to see all of these results. And this is obviously in Division 1. We only cover Division 1 games on the website. Currently, we don't have the manpower to be able to cover everything, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what we had to see. It was very good to see David Bedingham in action and see how he performed. But the rumors and around him and his future are obviously still spiraling, and we will find out what is the case after this game, guys. I'm going to try and find out what is happening. But yeah, let's get into the under 19 game. I think that's the 19 tournament, actually. Dewald Brevis, the standout man. To give you guys an indication of what has been happening or what Dewald has done in this tournament. Currently, after 4 games, and like I said, there's still another game happening. It's a playoff game, or not a playoff game, but a fifth place kind of game type of knockout. So they're going to be playing against the losers of the between Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. So we'll see what happens in that particular game and see how they come along. It all depends on what happens in that match. So yeah. Then to give you a quick understanding of what Dewald did in this tournament. Dewald is the top run scorer currently, and he has 362 runs in 4 games in 4 innings. An average of 90.50 and a strike rate of 86.39 with 103 50s. Now those 350s, this look like, if you look at it, you see 350s, but it was a 97 and 96 also included in that. So he was so close to actually getting 300s in this tournament. He was looking like he was going to. But I think this is the first time since Shubnam Gill got 4 consecutive half centuries in the World Cup, under World 19 World Cup. So it was an excellent achievement from him, and I think, me personally, they should fast track him straight into the domestic scene. He is contracted to Northerns, from what I understand, but I want to see him play. I think that he can definitely make that middle order, because this boy is by far one of the best players in this age group. You can see it by the way he thinks, the way he plays. He must be one of the best guys in this age group. So he's way ahead of the rest, and I have to admit there were some other decent performances. For example, George van Heerden scored 190 runs in 4 games with 1 century, but he never really converted those other scores that he got good starts in. But other than that, South Africa's batters never really came to the party. They looked kind of out of sorts, playing some shots that were a bit shocking the way they went out. Um, at some points, it just looked like it was a little bit just attacking without any thinking. But these guys are young, trying to implement a very difficult skill. I mean, we saw the Proteas struggle to get this vibe and this style of play. They've struggled to get that style of play under their belt and to perfect it. They haven't perfected it yet; they're still learning it. But it's difficult to do that, especially to teach kids how to assess conditions and look at all of those type of things. But it does. I got what I wanted out of this tournament because, generally speaking, out of under 19 tournaments and under 19 teams, you rarely see more than 3 or 4 players make it at the national level. Normally, you'll take 1 or 2 that will come through the system and really be earmarked as the future. It's very seldom that every single person will make it through to the Proteas. Now, there have been teams in the past where it has been rich with players in South Africa that have made it into the top side. But even that World Cup winning side, with Aiden Markram and KG, it's only really Aiden Markram and KG that really made it in the big time, apart from actually also Andile Pechlikwayo, but who didn't really play a massive part in the competition. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of. But Aditya, the baby AB thing from the start of this competition has followed him around, and he didn't disappoint. But from your perspective, what impressed you the most from the time that we interviewed him to the time that we actually watched him play on?
Well, uh, to begin with, his consistency. Because if you look at you look at his style of play, he likes to dominate, and he's not shy of hitting the aerial shots, and he hit some massive sixes. So for that type of player to show the sort of consistency that he has through the course of this tournament is just remarkable, and it speaks a volume of his talent, his natural talent, but also his ability to assess situations. So if you look at his strike rates through the course of the tournament, when he's had to really dig in and consolidate, he has. When he's had the opportunity to go after the bowling, he's done that also. And it seems like he's able to absorb pressure, because you look at the last game against England. I think they bowled out for 200 odd in 43 overs, and his contribution alone was 97 of 88 balls. So on a pitch that everyone struggled on against an attack that everyone else struggled on, this guy was dominating. Felt like he was playing on a different wicket, um, and obviously he was under pressure if he's losing partners at the other end. But for him to play the way he has in this tournament is just unbelievable. And my hope for Dewald is that I know now there's plenty of talk about him being fast tracked into the national team, or for him to get an IPL contract and things like that. But honestly, I hope at this stage he just sort of enjoys his cricket, makes the most of this time that he has away from serious limelight, so that he can just develop as a player and as a person, and he isn't under pressure a whole lot. But all in all, delighted for Dewald Brevis, proud of Dewald Brevis, and it's some of the best batting I've seen by an under 19 player. Michael Vaughan, in fact, said on Twitter that he could watch Dewald Brevis bat for the next 20 years.
Wow. That's an excellent compliment. That's fantastic. But we also have to talk about the fact that he can also turn that arm over. He can bowl as well. So when it comes to taking wickets, he's also in the running with regards to that. So Dewald's bowled also quite well in this tournament as well. I was very impressed by that. I mean, other than Matthew Boast, other than Boast as well, he's the second highest wicket taker in from South African point of view in this tournament. So it was uh, it was interesting to see that he could add some spin. I mean, he has 6 wickets at an average of 19 and an economy rate of 5.47. So it's not necessarily something that you will say, "Oh, wow, he's unbelievable." Like but he can do a proper job for you. Took some key wickets in the game against England that I thought, maybe South Africa can get themselves into this game over here. But I'm looking at a guy like Matthew Bose, who's, to me personally, I think I like the way he bowls. He's quite quick. It's a pity that I didn't get to see Joshua Stevenson play in this tournament, because that boy, I saw him at Cubs week and I was just like, wow, his action and the way he was running in, and he was quick. And yeah, so I'm sure he clocks like 145, 140, 145, around about there. So for a youngster like him, he's still young. I think he's 17, 18 years old. So like he's still a youngster. So yeah, he was clocking that, I think, when he was a youngster. But yeah, so we can also talk about the bowling aspect as well, which is very, very important. And I see it's been mentioned in the comment section as well, is that he can bowl. I want to ask you though, Aditya, when it comes to, so me personally, I think that we also need to, as a fan base and as a support base for Brevis, like just hold our horses a little bit and not just get away too carried away from ourselves, because I hope that he keeps this confidence. And that confident way of playing is something that he needs to keep. And I hope that they they take care of him, especially if he's going to play at Northerns for the rest of his career. I hope they look after him and nurture him, and really make sure that they protect him in that team and give him opportunities. Yes, I want to see him play. I don't want them to just fast track him too quickly and then at the detriment of himself and his confidence. It needs to be the right time, and it's very difficult to time that. It's very, very difficult to time when the right time is. But I do feel he needs to play some 4-day cricket, some uh, domestic cricket with regards to T20s or one days, to just get himself into the mode and feel of playing against senior guys. Now, yes, he has already played some games against senior guys. They've played some tournaments and some games, and I love that Shukri Khan had organized that. So make sure that the under 19s can also play some domestic cricket, because they're playing against men, and that's a very important thing that will teach them a lot of lessons that they might not have been able to pick up. So it's very, very interesting to see that. But I want to ask you about the IPL, because from what I've read recently is that the mega auction guys, the guys that have been entering the mega auction, that it's closed right now. So the names that we read out a couple of shows ago, those are the names that have been entered. There's no opportunity for someone like Brevis to throw his name into that hat, is there?
No, I don't think so. Um,
Hmm.
unless he comes. Look, I think what happened. There's quite a journey between an auction and the beginning of the IPL as well, because oftentimes players pull out in between citing injury or perhaps mental fatigue and things like that, and replacements always signed. So it's not like the door is shut, but there was a deadline for when you could put your hat in the ring um, for the IPL auction, and I think that was at some point in early January. Um, yeah, so I don't think Dewald has. If he hasn't signed up just yet, I'm not sure that he will be uh, at the auction. In saying
Hmm.
that, look, I think Dewald will have plenty of opportunities to participate in the IPL. And that's certainly something that I hope uh, I hope it's not rushed for him. You know,
Hmm.
because oftentimes when you see a talent like Dewald Brevis, we talk about we focus on the cricket a lot, but we also need to focus on the person.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's still 18. And he needs to figure himself out. He needs to get an understanding of what makes him tick as an individual. um, how he can cope with pressure. He needs to discover those mechanisms for himself, because cricket is one part of his life. But if he doesn't have other interests, or if he doesn't have other passions, it can cause burnout. And I can tell you from stories of from Indian players who had IPL contracts at the age of 18 or 19. Like Virat Kohli, for example, he talks about it a lot. And when he got an IPL contract at the age of 18 after leading India to victory in the Under 19 World Cup, it's almost like he couldn't handle it. It was too much for him, and he was distracted
Mm.
for that first season. So it's not easy. It's not easy dealing with that sort of scrutiny, with that sort of limelight. And I hope that when he's ready,
Yeah.
he can sign up for it.
Yeah, and this, I mean, if you look at the national side straight away, because I've seen people calling for him to go straight into the national side. There are a lot of people in the pecking order that have worked hard in the domestic scene that are also very talented and very skillful, that are ahead of him currently, and he's still very young. So the time will come when they put him into the team. Opportunities will arise where he gets the opportunity for that. But like that's why I'm a little bit worried about like Marco Janssen, so young, getting an opportunity in the IPL. I hope he doesn't face that burnout, because he's immediately playing at the highest level. Straight out of Kama Jolovic almost. He went straight into the highest level. And so I'm hoping that they manage him well. I'm glad to see that he's been given a rest now before the test series in New Zealand. He's not playing any 4-day cricket currently, so that's a good thing for me. I think to just give him some rest, and because I'm worried about our fast bowlers. Like someone mentioned in the comment section, I can't find the comment right now. But someone mentioned about KG being fast tracked into the Proteas side, and look what has been happening to him. Like he has been facing burnout because he's been playing like so much cricket since he started, like a non-stop. IPL contracts came soon after that. He's playing in tournaments like the IPL plus. He's playing for all three formats for South Africa, and then when he's not available, he's playing when he's not available for his country, then he's playing in domestic cricket, and then he's playing MSL as well. So it has been quite tricky, and there has been a lot. I think batters, it's a little bit different with batters than bowlers. I think it's a lot easier to fast track, or not to fast track, but to get batters and put them into the system as quick as possible. So and also I know this Tenduka in the past, and these other guys that have been given opportunities in the past, but it was a different time then. And also it was a different time then. Also it was a the intensity. Wow, the intensity back then was also, I understand it was a lot, but there was also openings for these guys in the team at the time for them to be able to play. Tell me about
Yeah.
Tenduka. Has Tenduka ever spoken about it? Maybe
Look,
talking about his getting his debut so young.
Tendulkar, Tendulkar is Tendulkar always has to be considered the exception, not the
Yeah,
norm.
the outlier. Yeah.
He is the outlier because remember there was what a lot of people outside of India may not know is that while Tendulkar was smashing records in domestic cricket and in school cricket before he got to international cricket, there was another player called Vinod Kambli who was Sachin's best friend at the time, and he was considered to be more talented than Sachin. He almost had that Brian Lara sort of flair to him. And you ask most people at the time about who was more talented between Sachin and Vinod Kambli, people would say Vinod Kambli. But there are plenty of other traits that you need to succeed at the international level. We can talk about natural talent all we want, but there is determination, grit, humility, a level headedness that you need to succeed at international level. And that takes time. That the fact that Sachin was able to do it at the age of 16 is just testament to his personality, but also to his upbringing, which was very humble. Now, Vinod Kambli ultimately ended up playing 17 test matches for India, and he was undoubtedly a brilliant talent. But there's a difference because Sachin ended up having 200 test matches under his belt. So Sachin can never be used as an example because he is an exception. There's so many other players that have been compared to, like Rohit Sharma made his debut at the age of 20 and he was considered to be the next Tendulkar. He's obviously an exceptional talent, but Sachin is still Sachin,
Hmm.
So they can never be uh, they can never be. So you can take that chance with Dewald Brevis, but ultimately it's that instinct that you have to see that this guy might have the talent, but you need to have some sort of an assessment about what he's like as a person, whether he has whether he still needs a little bit more time uh, to really flower and understand himself, because not everyone can make it at the age of 16. You're actually risking a young kid's career, if you bring him in too early. Like Herschel Gibbs often talks about the fact that he was brought into to the international team prematurely. In fact, I would make that same argument with respect to Temba Bavuma, that perhaps he was brought in too early, because he's really finding his feet in Test cricket now, in my view. So, so look, I think if Dewald Brevis is ready, by all means, slot him in, expose him to the national team environment,
Yeah.
but be
There
very
needs to be an
careful about that.
assessment, though. Yeah, yeah. There needs to be assessment about his mental strength and
You have to be
about,
careful.
yeah, especially in this day and age when we're in a sports science age of there's so much ways to check these things and to analyze players and to assess players and do all of those medical checks. We have so much in this day and age. He could be an outlier. I mean, ultimately, he could be an outlier. It's possible, but we won't know until he's tested. And
But
four
he's
day
also
cricket
living
is
in
a
the
good
age of
way.
social media. He's
Hmm.
also living in the age of social media. And if you really like that has like managing that is its own skill, because you look at Dewald's Instagram account now. Before the World Cup, he had around 8,000 followers. Now he's got 18,000 followers.
Hmm.
So that's an indication of the degree of hype around him now. So
Hmm.
he has to be careful. Like for his own mental health, he needs to ensure that
Yeah.
he's in the right frame of mind. I mean, if you really want to look at other examples, look at Will Pukowski of Australia. Like there are so many times he's dropped out of domestic tournaments in Australia because of depression, and he was
Yeah.
considered to be a child prodigy.
Yeah, but also these guys that we're talking about, they play domestic cricket for the in the team. They didn't come straight out of the SN 19 Cup and walk a 19 World Cup or under 19 team and walk straight into a national side. They did play domestic cricket first as well. Brevis hasn't yet. For his franchise, that for Northerns, he's played against them. We've seen him play against some of the guys in some of the 4 days and some other tournaments when the under 19 was formed part of the Division Twos. But I would like to see him play for the first, not Division Two teams. I want to see him play against Division One teams. And if he can play a couple of games for Northerns and put on the runs on the board, then by all means push him through. Because I mean, even with Marco Janssen, Marco played some first class cricket. They saw his talent at the first class level, and he was taking wickets there too and batting as well. So they saw it, liked it, gave him the opportunity, and then at SAA, and now he's in the Proteas setup. I think they should do the same with someone like Dewald Brevis. I mean, that's a young core that we can build a team around, having the likes of Marco Janssen, Vian Milders, Dewald Brevis. We're starting to find a nice young um, group for the future over here that can serve South Africa for 10 years, the 10, 11 year, 12 years almost, so like it's really interesting. I love the fact that we have a talent like this, and we've seen this because wow, it really is a generational talent, and it's something that really really impressed me about the way he went about his business and the confidence that he had at the crease to trust himself, but also the smarts to know when to attack, like you mentioned. That smarts, the fact that he understood the brand. He told us that was the brand. We asked Shukri Conrad, he told us that's the brand. The Proteas want to play that similar brand of attacking smart cricket. But to see a player implemented at such a young age, to understand what that smart aspect of the game is, because we ourselves as supporters struggle to understand what the smart brand of cricket that they're talking about. Because in that attacking smart brand of cricket, the most important aspect of that whole phrase is the smart aspect. And he looked like he was using that smart aspect. When the wickets fell against England, he decided, okay, let me turn things on here and put some more pressure on them and go for it. You know, so yeah, let's let's see what happens. I would like to see him play some
Yeah.
domestic cricket first.
Look, I think, a lot of a lot of the time we tend to compare current players with previous generations, right? And I think that's such a big mistake because like we're talking about Sachin Zira, for example, he didn't have to deal with the sort of media attention at the beginning of his career as he had to towards the end of the career, whereas the modern cricketer has to do now. Like, you talk to Virat Kohli, for example. Virat Kohli has said in exact words that he has no aspirations to lead a normal life in India. And you ask AB de Villiers as well. Can he just walk around in Mumbai? He can't, because that's the degree of popularity that he achieved. He became a household name in India. And the question that AB de Villiers, being a mentor to Dewald Brevis, will have to ask himself as well as Brevis is that, is Dewald ready for it? Because Dewald is coming into a cricketing environment where scrutiny is unbelievable. He's going to have to deal with the media, and that requires a certain skill set. So these things, they require time. I mean, if they still want to fast track him, sure, by all means. But these are important considerations.
I mean, Brevis is like a friend of the channel. I'm a big fan of his. I love the way he plays. I would love to see him get fast tracked and perform and do excellently if it's the right thing for him. Because my most important thing is about protecting the player and making sure that he's okay. And all the guys that have seen themselves go into the national team quite quickly. They've had time to play some domestic cricket though, and I feel that it is important to let them play some domestic cricket before. Even Reinhard van Tonder, for example, another guy that we haven't really been speaking about recently. That boy dominated at the under-19 World Cup that year. He was excellent in that under-19 World Cup tournament, and as the captain of South Africa as well. And I mean, he even batted with the injured hand as well and scored 100 with it. So that shows temperament. And then he came to domestic cricket, had a season, and then the second season, he never really performed really well. I mean, the second season did, but the third season now currently he hasn't necessarily been having his best seasons. But that's another youngster that we can talk about. There's loads of youngsters coming through that we really can put into this. So yeah, I would like to chat to him about it and see what he's thinking, because if I remember correctly, he did speak about it. He said he wants to play some, for Northerns, and he wants to play a little bit more games domestically. Um, so yeah, I think that if the opportunity comes for him to get an opportunity, let's see what he can do. Let's see what he's capable. I think he definitely in T20 cricket there's an option, and even in ODI, maybe in ODI cricket I would have said maybe, but in T20 cricket I think there's really definitely an opportunity for him to get some game time. If there's games that we play enough games, also have to think logistically about it. Currently there's a test squad that is going to New Zealand, so I don't think they're going to change anybody in this team and just throw Dewald Brevis into the middle of it. It has to be measured. I'm not saying 3 years of domestic cricket necessarily. If he's showing the aspects, like there needs to be an analysis of the player as well. Um, are we going to just be shouting for every single person's name if they perform well for an under-19 team every single time in place of others? I mean, so what would we have done if there was 3-4 players that were playing like Brevis in this team? But I know that's actually a stupid point that I'm making. I'm just rambling right now. But if Brevis is good enough, I would like to see him in the team. That is true. If he's good enough, if they've assessed him and he's good enough, then by all means fast track him in if he's ready for it.
Interestingly, the director of cricket of RCB, Mike Hesson, and the head coach of RCB, Sanjay Bangar, are already following him on Instagram. So they've obviously seen what he's done, and you don't know how much of a word Mr. AB de Villiers has, how much information Mr. AB de Villiers has given them, but
probably
he's already on the radar.
Yeah,
he's already on the radar.
Yeah, and I just be cautious because I care about the player. I don't necessarily. I don't want. I want him to nurture this talent. I want him to be a household name for South Africa, and I believe that he could be, and that he would be one day. And I just want to be. I'd rather be cautious than sorry. Me personally, when it comes to these things. Um, so yeah,
Sorry, I just want to address one point that Ashwani makes here about Kane Williamson making his debut at 20. That's an interesting point, and it's certainly a valid one. Uh, but the thing is, Kane Williamson started off in 2010, I believe, and he plays for a country that has 116 professional cricketers. That's it. So it's not even the most. Like, cricket is not even the most popular sport in New Zealand. So the pressure on him is not that much. But in South Africa, because of everything happening around the national team and sort of scrutiny on it, there is a lot more pressure. And Dewald
yeah,
Brevis is obviously a contender for an IPL team.
yeah,
So the limelight is a lot more on Brevis than
yeah,
it was on Williamson back
yeah.
in
I
2010.
mean, there's a T20 competition happening now in South Africa. There's a One Day Cup happening in South Africa. Throw him in there. Let him see how he does. You know, give him an opportunity to play some cricket for Northerns, and let him see let's see what he does. I mean, I want to see him play against men. I know he can smack the under 19 boys all around the field and the school boys, but I want to see him also do it against men. And and that will obviously determine where he's at, because those players are a lot more skillful. I mean, the older you are, the lot more skillful you are. So I would like to see that, and yeah, I would like to see him play some domestic cricket. And I'm not if he's showing it in the first couple of games, and you can just see it. He can play with the same amount of flair. He's not been boggled by or been rushed or whatever the case may be. Then those signs, they need to look at the signs correctly and see what he can do. Um, yeah, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I would love to see him walk onto the field with the number 17 jersey, but currently Riza Hendricks is keeping he has that number 17 jersey. But like, yeah, I would like to see him walk onto the field with that number 7 jersey with Brevis at the back. I mean, of course, I would love to see that happen. So yeah, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. So go ahead and subscribe to that, please. The link is in the description. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow for a fan Q&A daily show where you guys get to ask us questions. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening.